Welcome to our December 2014 World of Equine News right here on Speaking of Horses. I'm your host, Wayne Williams, and this month we visit San Diego, California, and also a film festival in New York City. But first, let's go to Kentucky. To celebrate the return of the Southern Lights Holiday Festival presented by Toyota Motor Manufacturing and Kentucky Inc., the Southern Lights Stroll will take place on Thursday in November on an evening of the Southern Lights, when the public is allowed to experience a major portion of the lighted route on foot. Now, visitors may choose to run, walk, or stroll through the thousands of dazzling holiday lights that are on the grounds of the Kentucky Horse Park. Now in its 13th season, the Southern Lights Stroll has proven to be very popular, from a casual walker to families who bring their children and dogs to get photos and see the lights outside of the car, to serious runners to compete in the SK portion of the Southern Lights Stroll. John's Run Walk Shop has donated several services to the competitive 5K race, and awards will be given to winners, and additional activities included complimentary mini train express rides, refreshments, door prizes, and more. And a food drive for God's Pantry and a local animal shelter were held in conjunction with the event. All participants are asked to bring non-perishable items to help local families that are in need. You know, Speaking of Horses TV was recently in San Diego at the PATH convention. Now here we caught up with one of the PATH-approved therapeutic riding centers. This one is based in New England. Here's our interview. Watch and listen. Speaking of horses, and we're in beautiful San Diego, California. We are at the PATH convention, and Kitty Salzberg is standing next to me. Now, Kitty, you're out of New England, and tell us first a little bit about PATH here.
PATH is an acronym for the Professional Association of Therapeutic Horsemanship International. It is our overreaching national governing body. This is our national conference. So we have, I think there's about 500 attendees from all over the world, actually. We have some folks from Saudi Arabia, France, Taiwan. I'm sure there's a few other countries. Korea as well, and then all the 50 states are represented, so it's a good gathering.
Now, you came quite a ways to get here. Where is your program?
We are High Hopes Therapeutic Riding in Old Lyme, Connecticut.
Now, where is Old Lyme? Is that like Center State, or is it down on the northern part of the Sound, or what?
We are in southeastern Connecticut, so we're actually right at the mouth of the Connecticut River, and we've been a PATH center for 40 years. We just celebrated our 40th anniversary.
Wow. Now, we have something, I got to tell you, we have something in common here. One of the sponsors for my TV show is Source Nutrition right here, and we have all these packets we're handing out, and Source has also been a big supporter of your program.
Source has been amazing. They have been supporting High Hopes through the donation of their product since mid-1990s, and when we sat down and added it all up, it's well over $20,000 worth of product that we've had to benefit our horses. Our horses are hard-working therapy horses, but the Source helps keep them safe. It helps keep their coats glossy, their feet in good condition, them feeling good. So we're very, very grateful to Source for that support.
Well, they're a wonderful group of people to work with, and they've done a lot of things along with Speaking of Horses. So now, this conference, when you talk about therapeutic riding, let's just say a little bit about who and how you help people that need therapeutic riding.
What we do is provide equine-assisted activities and therapies for people with all types of disabilities. So the programs that are represented here are folks who might be serving veterans. They might be serving folks with what we call equine-facilitated learning, school groups, working with self-esteem and self-confidence. Then we have hippotherapy, which is the medical treatment of individuals. We're utilizing the horse as a modality of treatment. We also have groups that provide carriage driving, mounted activities, and other equine-assisted learning. So a wide variety of skills.
And I will say this, I have worked with a couple of programs, and one specifically in Wisconsin called Smiles. And there is not an age factor on this. It can be, they've had students from 80 down to 2. There's no age group here.
Well, there are a definite set of precautions and contraindications that we very strictly adhere to. Children as young as 2 to 4 would need to be working with a therapist, a medical professional that can help to evaluate their whether the appropriateness of the activity. And actually any individual is assessed based on things like head control and what type of physical issues or behavioral issues that they may have. So our National Association PATH provides us with credentialing standards and certification. The instructors within PATH that are providing the service have a strong educational background on what's appropriate. The bottom line premise, however, is that the horse is beneficial to the human in such a myriad of ways, and we're seeing this right now. Our largest population in our field are children on the autism spectrum, and it's relationship, it's about the horse and human interacting, it's about sensory input, it's about physical change. Sometimes the horse is the motivator that creates speech for the first time, so it's amazing. And I would be remiss if I didn't point it out that most of our centers are heavily reliant upon volunteers. And the volunteers that that work with our centers, they give so much of themselves and find that they have such benefit in return. So one of the volunteers also that we've had for 20 years probably is Susie, who's a staff member at Source, and that relationship is also supported.
Well, I can tell you that the rewards that come from being a part of this are absolutely immeasurable. If you volunteer and get involved, you get back a lot more than you give.
Well, and we would also, we wouldn't be doing what we do without our amazing partners, the horse. So we're really grateful for organizations like Source that can help nonprofits. Almost 99% of all the organizations here are nonprofit, and we all want to give our horses the very best care, and Source and folks that will donate things like supplements or veterinary services or farrier. But we're always out there looking for suitable horses, and there are some horses that just gravitate to this. They really like it, you know. It's a horse that's been there, done it, that's calm, cool, and collected, and they really blossom, some of them. Some of them don't like it too, and we respect that.
But there is this connection between horse and human, so it just manifests itself when you get into this. Kitty, thank you very much.
Thank you for having, and thanks to Source, and as sponsor to both of us, we're very fortunate, aren't we?
We are, especially because we are standing here in San Diego, and I understand back in Wisconsin there was snow on the ground this morning when I called home. So
I'm leaving tomorrow, and they're saying it's 3 inches of wet white stuff, so I'm not looking forward to it either.
Thanks, Kitty. Thank you, and you stay with us because we're here at PATH. This is Speaking of Horses. Hey, we'll be right back right after this. You know, we want to take a moment to thank many of the fine people who have made Speaking of Horses TV possible. King Barns, custom designed and built to your specs, crafted by experienced craftsmen just for you. Visit King Barns for your class barn. Revitavet, light therapy products to assist in faster healing of your horse. Use the light pads to warm up muscles before riding. It's innovative, reliable, and you get top results. Revitavet. And a thank you to Just Dump It, easy and safe handles for your wheelbarrow. Save your back with this dump system, easy to install and use. Check out Just Dump It. And Hoosier Horse Trailers, crafted and built in northern Indiana. Unique designs and factory-crafted living interiors. Amish craftsmen at their best. That's Hoosier Horse Trailers. Thank you for your support of Speaking of Horses. Well, the question is, what is the equine population of the United States? Well, it seems like a simple enough question, but that's not such an easy task. The National Agricultural Statistics Service, a division of the U.S. Department of Agriculture, addresses the question every 5 years in its agricultural census. Now, unfortunately, this data has its limitations despite being the most complete account of activity on U.S. farms and ranches and those who operate them. The 2012 census, the results of which were released this year, showed that Texas had the largest equine population on farms by a significant margin. More than 64,000 Texas farms were homes to nearly 395,818 horses and ponies, and that's comfortably ahead of the equine populations of Oklahoma, California, Kentucky, and Florida, all of which are states known for their equine bloodstock. There are now 504,000 795 farms with horses. So how many horses were there on those 504,795,000 farms? Well, which indicated they had equines. Well, the owners and occupiers reported for 2012 3,621,348 equines, a 10% decrease from the 4,028,000 in 2007. Now, those 504,795 farms represent a 12% decline on farms that reported having equines during the '07 census. Accurate records are needed to keep good numbers reported to agencies for fair revenue and equine needs. Hey, next we go to Washington, D.C. The 56th Annual International Horse Show wrapped up another historic week of show jumping in the nation's capital by adorning ponies with ribbons galore at downtown D.C.'s Verizon Center. Armani, owned by Pretty Penny Farm and ridden by Claire Campbell, took Grand Champion Pony Hunter honors and was presented the Miles River Moonglow Trophy, donated by Scott Novick and Rustic Woods on the Sunday of the competition. The WIHS Pony Equitation Finals were then held in the afternoon with a win for Caroline Passarelli. The WIHS Regional Finals concluded that day with victories for Thea Bitar and Allison Kilroy. The 10-year-old Welsh pony gelding Armani carried Campbell over her first ever division championship in the Small Pony Hunter, sponsored by Further Lane Farms. For the benchmark achievement, she was awarded the Stormbach Saddlery Challenge Trophy, donated by Stormbach Saddlery in memory of Bud Stormbach. Now, this was an amazing and big surprise, said Campbell. Her first divisional and grand champion title all in one day. I've only been riding him for 2 months, he said, so this is a big deal. Well, now it's time for our monthly visit with rider and exercise expert Jennifer Cotleo. Here is today's riding and exercise tip. Watch.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Cotleo, and I'm here today to tell you in 2 minutes or less how you can improve your riding through movement. We all need an elastic pelvis in order to follow the motion of our horse smoothly, effectively, and efficiently. But there's some places that tend to get tight, and I want to show you a couple of different exercises to help you with that. One place I see a lot of stiffness is in a rider's SI joints. Those are the joints that attach the 3 parts of the pelvis together. Your pelvis seems like it's one thing, but it's actually 3. And so there are 2 pieces, like a Mickey Mouse ears on the side and then a piece in the middle. And where the 2 Mickey Mouse ears meet the piece in the middle, those are your SI joints, and they tend to get stuck. So the first thing we're going to do is a fun little exercise to help loosen all this area up, which is right in this part of your lower back. So what you want to do is sit up straight, hopefully with your legs out in front of you, but if your knees are a little bent, it really doesn't matter. And we're going to do what I call a hip walk. So no cheating with your hands. You're going to start moving backwards. This is also really good for your abdominals. And it's easier to do on something not so slippery. And then you're going to walk forward. Again, it's just trying to get movement in your pelvis left and right. I would probably do, if I was doing this 5 feet up and 5 feet back, probably 3 or 4 times. The next thing we're going to do is to help open up and lubricate, I call lubricate, your hip joints. So I want you to lay down on your back. You're going to lift one leg up and place your hands around your knee. Now your leg is not going to do any work. I want you to imagine that your leg and the hip joint is like a mortar and pestle, and you're making pesto in there. You're going to slowly, with your arms, move that femur head, move that bone around in that hole. It should feel very smooth. If it doesn't, it just means you need to work on this a little bit, and then you're going to reverse. This is a very tiny motion. What's important is that your arms are doing the work, not your leg doing the work, because you want to keep all the muscles out, and the muscles around this joint will start to relax by letting the arms do the work. So I would do this probably, 30 seconds on each leg. And notice, just for your own sake, which leg is easier to move around. Today, it's my left, but sometimes it's the right. All right, so once you've done that for about 30 seconds on each side, we're going to do one more stretch to really help stretch out the outside of your hips. So I'm going to stand up, and you want to do this. You can do it on your bed, you can do it on a taller chair, a stool. If you have really not such great knees, I might not suggest doing this, but you're going to take one leg up and cross it in front of you. So I've got a pretty open angle here, and then I'm going to fold forward from my hips. I'm going to place my hands down here. Right now, I've got this yummy, yummy stretch going on this outside hip. As you get more and more flexible, you can bring your leg closer to you, and you can start coming down more. Right? You're going to do this on each side. If you're very flexible, people know this is the pigeon pose. I'm going to come back up on my mat and do the exact same motion, but with a lot more extension. So this would be the third variation on that. But in all, you're really opening up and stretching this part of your body. So those are 3 quick and easy exercises, 2 minutes or less, that will help your riding through movement.
Hey, we'll be right back with a story from the Equine Film Festival in New York City and a story on Morgan horses. We want to take a moment to thank many of the fine people that have made Speaking of Horses possible. Source Nutrition, micronutrients for your horse or dog, developed and harvested from the ocean on the Maine coast. Years of research and development for the best supplements available. Source Nutrition. Equessentials, horse conditioning and prep products developed by Dr. Tom Tweeton, totally safe, improve your horse's coat and health. That's Equessentials. Echo Green Grid, stop mud and uneven wet ground. Echo Green Grid installs easily to give a great base for footing. Use it in the paddock around the water tank, or use it in the barn. That's Echo Green Grid. And a thank you to Fly Predators. Fly Predators from Spalding Labs control flies and fly larvae the easy way. Use Fly Predators and flies will be gone. Thank you to these people who support Speaking of Horses. You know, the best in the Morgan breed was celebrated in Oklahoma City for the 2014 edition of the Grand National and World Championship Morgan Horse Show that was held in mid-October. It's been there since 1973. Now, this show has represented the pinnacle of achievement in the Morgan horse world. More than 1,000 of the world's finest Morgan horses from across the United States, Canada, and Europe met in Oklahoma City to compete for over 300 classes and prizes, $400,000 plus in prize money. Matt Quapich of Bernalillo, New Mexico, was the show's manager for the second year in a row, and Georgie Green of Morgan Mill, Texas, served in the capacity of show chairman. It was both a joy and a pleasure to be the chair of the 2014 Grand National and World Championship Morgan Horse Show, said Green. The staff and the committee were extraordinary. The parties were fun, the camaraderie was enjoyable, the competition was outstanding. Thank you to all who were involved, and I hope your week was a gratifying one as mine was, end quote. Quapich, along with dedicated and hardworking show committee and staff, joined an impressive list of sponsors, officials, and volunteers to make this year's show the best ever. It's with great excitement that we come to Oklahoma, and I came there as the manager of the Grand National this year. The horse show is where the best of the best in the Morgan breed competes, and it's Morgan history in the making. Watch for information on the 2015 show, which will be next year in October. Well, you know, speaking of horses, TV was pleased and proud to have a film in the Equine Film Festival in New York City in November of 2014, just last month. We attended the festival at the restored Mist Theater, 46th West, 116th Street in Manhattan. Now, some of the promoters of the festival are from Holland, and we had a chance to visit while we were there. Here's our talk with the people of Horse Lifestyle TV. Watch. Hey, here we are, speaking of horses, the Equine Film Festival in Manhattan, and I am standing here with Bibi. Now, Bibi, I'm going to have you pronounce your last name.
Bemelmans.
Babelmans,
Yes,
okay?
it's Dutch.
It's Dutch. I know you are from Amsterdam.
Amsterdam, correct.
Now, then the reason you're here is there's two or three of you that are here from Lifestyle TV.
Yeah,
So
horse lifestyle.
Horse Lifestyle. So tell us a little bit about how that fits with the film festival here.
Well, Horse Lifestyle TV is an online streaming service with all kind of content for horses. Actually, it's a kind of Netflix for horse lovers. So we have a platform in the Benelux where we create all kinds of content, gather all kinds of content all around horses. We want to become the place where everything about horses comes together. And the film festival is a great example of that, because the film festival has a lot of new films, old films, commercials, everything about horses. It's created with a love for horses. So we are here as a media partner to support the events and to see how we can take the content to a next level and to make it available for everybody, because we are from the Netherlands, we are from Amsterdam, a lot of people here are from Paris or from Canada. So, and if you make it available online, it's available for everybody. So everybody in the world can watch it and don't have to come to New York.
Well, and that's the beauty of the internet, because once it's there, it's anywhere in the world, okay?
Exactly.
And you also undertake projects where you will do some either subtitles or closed captioning so that these films can be viewed in various countries around the world.
Exactly. We have a lot of English-speaking content, and we subtitle it so our people in the Netherlands can see it. And I mean, over here there are so many great movies, and it's good for people to see that also.
Well, and the beautiful part of this, like we're standing here in Manhattan, we are in just north of Central Park a little bit, in the very southern part of Harlem, in a beautifully redone old theater. There's 100 films running on 3 different screens for the weekend. It's a great film festival, but you're here in Manhattan, and it's like, what? Well, horse lovers live everywhere. Just because you don't own a horse doesn't mean you may not be a horse lover.
Exactly. And that's also what Horse Lifestyle is about, because it's a lifestyle. And I mean, you can own a horse, you can ride a horse, you can use a horse for therapy, you can just love horses, you can love the horse lifestyle, just the cooking or everything. So you don't have to own a horse. I mean, horses have the beauty that inspire a lot of people, and you don't have to ride them to be touched by them.
So it's Horse Lifestyle TV. Now, what exactly is the website?
It's www.horselifestyle.tv.
TV, and you can watch it anywhere. And how? Go ahead.
No, yeah, we just did the launch in the Benelux, so it's only available in the Benelux right now.
Okay.
And this is the first step in the States, and we want to roll it out further to the States next year. So next year we will also available in America.
Okay, all right, because I know I'm going to be sending some content to you guys to air there for Speaking of Horses. But this is great. Thank you for taking time to talk to me.
Thank you.
And check it out. Keep following the progress. Horse Lifestyle TV. Thank you very much, Bibi.
You too. Thank you.
All right, you stay with us. We're here in Manhattan on Speaking of Horses. Well, we want to thank all of you for our 6th year in South Dakota. Now, I'm speaking on behalf of the Horse Spirit Society, and they say they're humbled by the generosity and being a part of such kind-hearted people makes the journey so wonderful. The Horse Spirit Society helps Oglala Sioux in South Dakota to preserve and work with their horses as they have for centuries. They also do greatly needed pro bono work on hundreds of horses each year. Now, speaking of horses, we're pleased to be there in 2013 and look forward to going back in 2015, following many of the veterinarians who do the pro bono work. We at Speaking of Horses would like to thank some of the people who helped to make Speaking of Horses TV possible. A big thank you to Equine Clot. Equine Clot is a wonderful product. Carry it in your saddlebag, put it in your first aid kit, wrap it on an equine wound. It immediately promotes clotting and is a great first aid tool. Thank you to Equine Clot. And to EquestraSafe, a complete line of equestrian riding products for trail, for arena, for wherever, from reflective vests, reflective headgear, tapes, signage. Everything you need to ride safely and to be safe with your horse is available at EquestraSafe.com. Check them out. Thanks to all of the fine people that make Speaking of Horses TV possible. Well, while we were in that New York City Film Festival, the Equus Film Festival, we also caught up with members of a program to assist wounded warriors back from service in the military. Now, this program has a distinctive style and different from many of the other Wounded Warrior programs. Here's that interview. Watch. It's for your review.
I'm Eva Usade. I'm the founder and director of Trauma and Resiliency Resources. We're a 501c3 public charity based in New York.
My name is Jonathan Roa. I'm a U.S. Army veteran, served in Iraq in support of Operation Iraqi Freedom, and I am a volunteer with the program.
Our primary program is Warrior Camp, which is a residential intensive treatment program for combat-related post-traumatic stress disorder and moral injury in active duty military and veterans. It's a program that we run at a horse facility, and equine-assisted psychotherapy is one of our primary treatments. We use EGALA model equine-assisted psychotherapy, meaning that we use horses on the ground only. We don't ride. We have a team of 2 individuals, a mental health professional, which is me, and an equine specialist professional that are in the arena with the warriors, and we do both group sessions and individual sessions.
I took part in a portion of the therapy session, and it turned out to be a huge benefit as far as meshing with the horse and showing its attributes as far as being a herd animal and its fight or flight methods.
Yeah, that's one of the really beautiful things about working with a warrior population, horses, is that they really understand each other because they both have hyperarousal and they're very much on the edge of flight all the time. And so there's a real connection that can be made, and then the therapy team, the human part of the therapy team, figures out how to work with that in terms of helping the warrior process what's actually going on with the horse or horses. And the 2 other components of the program are EMDR, which is eye movement desensitization and reprocessing therapy. It's a very well-known trauma treatment supported by the Veterans Administration and the Department of Defense. We also do yoga, and we live together so that all of this occurs in the context of community.
I also feel as if the holistic portion of the therapy is a very spiritual method in kind of awakening the soldiers' inner spirits and kind of loosening them up and bringing them back to a peaceful place instead of being so hyper, alert and just overly sensitive to its surroundings.
Yeah, that's one of the nice comments that a lot of our warriors have made after the program, is that it's the integration of the different modalities that's really effective, that people go from an EMDR session into the arena with the horses, then they have yoga, then they go back to EMDR. They're getting a lot of work done in a short period of time, and we've seen some really tremendous gains that are being made. And the way to contact us, we have a website which can be located at www.trrhelp.org. The full name of our organization is Trauma and Resiliency Resources, which you can Google, Facebook, and find us on Twitter. Or you can call 917-509-5804.
Well, that's our December report. We wish everyone a Merry Christmas and a happy holiday season, and we'll see you in January 2015. I'm your host on Speaking of Horses for our World of Equine News. I'm Wayne Williams.